Okay. Do we do the call or I call the meeting to order first again? Sorry. It's right there. I apologize. January 10th, 2 p.m. We are calling today's meeting to order for the Environmental Advisory Committee.
Okay. Roll call. Jessica Namath.
Here.
Brad Freese.
He should be on Zoom. He mentioned to me that he might
see
have...
his name there.
Oh.
Russ
Right.
Redmond.
Here.
Clay Damon. Jill Wenta. Michelle Shiros.
Here.
So in order to have a quorum, we have to have 1, 2, 3.
Well, it is just 2:01, so Brad may be... He might have stepped away
Oh,
for a minute.
looks like your
quorum is
Zoom
people
is-
that are present.
Yeah, we
not-
gotta-
Oh.
So,
Is it 3 or 4 for the quorum?
4.
Hmm.
We have to have a majority.
But there's only 6 board members today.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We have to have the majority of board members present.
I mean, the council did 2 and 2 for...
Right, you guys only have 3. We have to have, the majority present. Physically present.
Well, we can, has anybody heard from Jill? Did she say she was not?
Oh, she's not, yeah, she's very sick.
So is it, so has anybody,
Bob
Let me
Ray,
just, hang on, let me just
Bob and Clay?
confirm.
yeah, because Clay, did Clay say that he was,
I haven't heard from him.
right, so
He
he
might
may
just
just
be-
be, I know the traffic's been horrible, you know. If we have a number for him, I'd be happy to reach out and see if he is on his way.
I'm looking for it right now.
Thank you. That would be such a shame, Jay, we went through all this effort.
Okay, it's, are you ready?
Yeah.
561 351 7819.
Should I step outside and call him, or?
I feel like it's official, you know?
Okay.
You're right on the Zoom.
Hey Clay, this is Jessica Namath. I was just calling to see if you were coming to the meeting today, or if you were unable to make it. That's what I thought. All right, well, you are our quorum, so we are waiting for you. No rush, but we're glad that you're able to make it, so we'll see you shortly. Okay, sounds good. Bye.
Right, but I mean, do I need to do something to talk?
10
Right.
minutes or less.
Oh, okay.
But this is,
All right, we're scheduled for this time block, so.
yeah, he said he will be here. He's on his way. He said it would be less than 10 minutes. So this is.
Hello, is anyone there? This is Brad.
Hi,
Hello,
Brad.
Brad.
Good to hear from you.
So just everybody be aware that we are recording, so everything, before he gets here is being recorded and live.
Okay.
And we can't discuss any of the,
Or officially not.
right.
And it is verified that you do need to have 4 recesses.
Well, he is on his way.
Well, we can each go through the memos and read those again. And be more acquainted.
Um, Yeah, number 6.
Just for educational purposes, an agenda memo, the term memo, what does that mean?
It's just the process in which we put the agenda together. Everything is in a memo form, and then it gets attached into the agenda.
Okay.
Just kind of how our system works.
So if we have content as a committee member that we want to present, it would be submitted to you in the form of a,
It would go to Jay, and he would put
Okay.
it in as a memo, but all the backup that you would want for your presentation, if it's a PowerPoint or any documentation, you would attach that to your email to Jay, and then
Okay. Okay. So Jay, you are the contact person for sending this to. All right, I didn't know that.
He's the contact person. He will, look at the information and, see what goes in the agenda, but then he will forward it to me, and then I build the agenda.
Okay.
Now, will I be CC, do I see what is being suggested or submitted? Would she CC me?
Yes.
Because we used to send it to Tom.
Yes.
Before we had Jay. So,
Yes, she would send it at the same time to you.
right,
and
so
to
do
Jay.
CC, yeah,
Like
the
before.
chair, I think that
Yes.
is, you CC the
With
chair.
no replies.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, very good.
Getting there.
Yeah, I have a question. I had previously been under the impression, I guess previously could be anywhere from 6 months to a year ago, I think, that emailing something also was submitting something to be put onto record, and that isn't the case. You have to speak in a meeting, correct, to have it put onto record or read into the record?
Do you mean as an agenda item?
No, I
Or-
mean is,
Oh, for any, yes,
on- yeah.
you cannot email someone and say, this is what I want read at a meeting. You have to be physically present.
Right, in other words, for, like, say, for example, we see the Jupiter Inlet Foundation that might be petitioning a cause and asking people
Right.
to reach out or email or something like that. Here, at least, in order for it to be included on the record, it has to be read there during the meeting.
Somebody that is responsible for the email has to read it.
Okay. I found that interesting, just because I did feel like there were, and I know a lot of people that write out of concern, I get emails.
Right.
And, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and people email all the
Right.
time. Council,
Yeah.
they have the opportunity to have their opinion known. They can email all of council at once. Council will get their email, they don't have to respond.
Mhm.
But if you want something read at a meeting, you physically have to be
Yeah.
present to read it.
yeah,
Because, and the flip side of that is, imagine the
Oh,
amount of emails
right.
that we may receive on any particular subject at any particular time that would take up
Of course, yeah.
jobs of.
So is that the standard?
It's the standard,
Yeah.
yes.
Good to know.
Do they note the number they receive of email? Or, like if there's a particular matter of concern, I've been in meetings other places, for example, where they've brought in like the stack that they've gotten, and it was,
I mean, it's not normal that we do a count of emails. I mean, council might up at the day say, well, I've received 5 emails on this subject. I mean,
Mhm.
they could tell you, but it's nothing that we, notate every.
right. Do I get copies of any emails that are sent with environmental concerns to council, or only if they get sent to me?
Hello, this is Brad. I cannot hear anything. Is the meeting started?
That's amazing.
Oh,
Yes.
He's got his hand up and everything.
Yeah. Oh, bless. It's adorable. It's so great. I see it. You're right. He does. You're a teacher. You see that? Oh, it's so great. I see him. I didn't notice. My daughter used to get so frustrated. She's like, the teachers don't notice me.
You
I
can't
think
teach
you have to undo.
Yeah, I see.
on Zoom.
It's hard. I see.
You can't do
I
it.
just missed it. His hand is raised.
It's
Who knows
impossible.
how long?
It's impossible.
Sorry, Brad.
Might text him and say,
Is the
here,
messenger part working?
Oh yeah, chat. The chat.
Chat.
Woohoo! Hi.
Sorry.
Brad just came on and he's, hello, I can't hear anything, is anybody talking? So they're trying to straighten that out anyway. It was pretty
Right, a
funny.
quorum.
He's got his hand raised, of course our teacher noticed.
Probably didn't notice until he said something, which is about how it worked in
Right.
class anyway.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can hear everyone now.
No, I don't think it was you.
It's just one of those off days.
We're sorry. It was well timed, actually. It was all right. Our quorum just arrived.
Okay, 2:12. We're ready to begin.
Okay. All right, so, the approval of the agenda here. So, I would like to, I guess make a motion to, or no, what?
No, you're not going to, you're gonna ask for a motion to be made.
Okay, I would like for a motion to be made to discuss.
To approve the agenda.
Oh, well, I thought, wouldn't I add, if there are additional things to add in here?
At this time, you can add them if you like.
That's what I was- yeah.
Are you deleting, adding?
No, I'm adding, I'm trying to add,
Okay,
yeah.
Sure, okay, so with the addition of,
Okay, right, so that's what, okay. So I would like to ask for a motion to be made for the approval of the agenda with the addition of 2 additional items regarding beach erosion, 1, and the second on an update on mangroves that I think is, yes. Do you want me to say what we're going to be, yes? Okay. So the first would be to talk about a correspondence from residents regarding Beach Road and the erosion, and a sheet that Jupiter has for residents to present timelines and kind of answer questions so that they are able to keep track themselves. And then I would also like another item to talk about the presenting to council, also making sure that council is aware of the outcome of these mangroves that were removed and the consequences that they have to face for removing them, which I think is significant because it shows just how our local, they're really cracking down on removing mangroves. So that was.
so do you wanna add these to the, under new business after you
Yes.
discuss those other items?
Yes, because, yes.
Okay, so the first one's going to be adding beach erosion / correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
as
A
topic.
discussion, yes,
And
discuss,
then the second one is update on mangroves and presenting to council.
perfect.
Okay, all right, we're good.
And so I would like an approval for those agenda items, if anybody would like to make a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda with those added items, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor signal by
Aye.
saying aye.
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 All those against, nay. All right, the motion, or the agenda is approved. We have communications from citizens now. Are there any communications from citizens? Wonderful.
Hello, good to see you guys again. Linda Smith, Sierra Club. I live in Jupiter, Florida. I did come across one leftover VOT jug, and I would like to perhaps leave it in your good, capable hands to distribute, use, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So that's
Yes, thank you.
one thing. respectfully, I'm asking you to double side print the agendas. And that would, I can only imagine that it happens all the time. But for the Environmental Advisory Committee, make a special effort. I am glad I don't see a water cooler with a bunch of plastic water bottles. Not quite sure what that is over there on the table. I love the little recycle bin that I think I see around the corner. And also, I just wanted to let you folks know, in case you didn't, that the Treasure Coast Regional Council meeting back in December passed a resolution to reduce single-use plastic, and wondering if you took that verbiage, and I can send it to someone. I know
Please
there
do,
was a lot of
yes.
discussion about who gets what email before this started, and I wasn't paying 100% attention. Basically change the name, right? Not Treasure Coast Regional Council, but make it Tequesta. So I'll send that to Jessica.
Please.
And is there a particular email I should use for that?
jnamath@tequesta.org. Yes, please.
So that it's official and not strange. And also just to let everyone know that Sunday Sands, I think you're probably aware of the Indian Mound. It's actually in Jupiter, but you guys are pretty close. It's going before the special magistrate again tomorrow. So if you want to send emails to them, I can also send you some of that kind of information. But, you know, let the other Town of Jupiter council members know that Tequesta doesn't want them to go through with it.
Come join me. I've been to almost all of the meetings.
Well, then share that and go around, and that was it.
Yes.
So otherwise,
Thank
I'm just
you.
gonna kind of listen. I'm the fly on the wall. Sierra Club, I'd like to hope we were a resource. I know I was here, I think in December, could have been November, and I'm hopelessly behind getting some information back to you guys, but I can leave you a bottle.
I would love that, and that would be a great prize even for the children at the food trucks have been desperate for me to do
Perfect.
some sort of a scavenger hunt, and that sounds like a great prize to me. It's not a sticker, which is usually my.
Okay, and the point of that was, you know, if you have somebody that, you know, after 20 years of experience or something, you know, instead of getting a certificate, people that work for the town might get a town bottle.
Well, and I've had residents ask about, you know, things like this when we have them out and
Swag.
about. Yeah, but they, even some of the, they love the, they love that. I know I have mine still, so thank you. Okay, any other communications from citizens? No, all right, we do not have any presentations today. The consent agenda here, I would like a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those against? Nay? Okay, it was quiet, but we were all aye here.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. That's the end of our consent agenda, regular agenda. Okay. Old business. Right, we're going through here now. We have the old business. I think that we are going to new business. I'm looking at old business number 3 and new business number 6, or number 6. Are somewhat correlated. No, are we?
I mean.
I guess not. Okay,
you
so.
can do whatever you
Well,
want.
because, yes, all right, if we can, so for the old business, we can make a motion to approve that, or move on from that right now, or no?
Did you want any discussion on
Do we-
any of the
do we want-
GHG reduction elements?
I was going to suggest, I know that there are some things that people had, that those two, and I know that Jay, you had suggested us not even, skipping the meeting today, essentially, so I don't know if there's, I would think those two items I was going to postpone and continue discussing at the next meeting, if that was okay with everybody, and just go over the new business that we have today.
I'm just pulling it back up.
Unless there was something prepared, I know,
I'm good with that.
okay.
It's fine to table that.
Is that
Yeah.
until the next meeting? So I,
Just make a motion to table these two items
It's-
until the next.
all right, so I would like to make a motion to table the old business, those two items, until the next meeting.
Does she ought to make the motion?
I'm asking for it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or,
Yep.
We'll make a motion to table the old business items to next meeting.
all right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
Do I have a second?
Or do I have a second? Sorry.
Oh, second.
I thought, yeah, my bad. All right, we're there.
Aye.
We're good.
Okay, so new business. All right, so the reason that I had initially insisted on pushing for this meeting is because we have our legislative session starting here January 9th, I think it was yesterday, and it goes through March 8th. And one of the things at our last council meeting, the kind of general theme of the legislative priorities for the village was, in a sense, protecting home rule. And the council approved the priorities that they were going to present to the lobbyist to pursue during the session. And after that, I was made aware of a possible preemption that was coming up potentially to the fertilizer ordinance, that we are proudly one of only 18 or 19 places in Florida that have a strong fertilizer ordinance in place. And should that come up, or should any other environmental concerns that would be in line with us protecting our home rule, which was our legislative priority essentially, the theme of it, I would like to ask our lobbyist to add those as well, or pursue those as well. And I believe that when I spoke to Jeremy, because those had been approved at the last council meeting, we need to present tomorrow. I would need to present them with a suggestion. Is it a motion for them to add these items onto?
I believe you'd have to request that they do it by resolution at
By
the
res-
next meeting. I don't know, can they do it, can you guys do a resolution on the floor tomorrow?
At the council?
At the council level?
Not unless it's written.
Yeah, it's having prepared.
Well, there might be language out there already that I can look to see in anticipation. I don't know that it is a bill that has been entered necessarily yet or has been sponsored. I don't know that it is, but I know that things can be added and that it could come up shortly. So that's one of the reasons I wasn't sure if there was a broad kind of environmental term or way we could add that as a concern. I mean, I'm happy to read anything that we're able to come up with that would be able to add this. But we were under the impression that if we were to wait until next month, it might not be enough time, given that the session ends March 8th.
And what exactly are you looking to present to?
Yeah, well, I was looking for clarity on
Yeah.
what is the resolution for?
So our council has legislative priorities that they would like the lobbyists to protect and pursue on our behalf. And do we have those? Do you have those by any chance from the last meeting, what the council had approved, or no?
I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure what was presented at the last council meeting. So you're looking for a resolution?
Mr. Bradford, could you provide some clarity here for me, please, or for us? Do you have anything that you could add to this that would provide some clarification?
Yeah, let me make sure I understand what you're trying to do.
Okay.
So you're concerned about environmental issues, and specifically, for right now, the effort that we think is underway to take away our powers to regulate fertilizer. Is
Yes.
that correct?
That we have already put in place, that we have approved, yes.
Yes, it's in place on the books.
Mhm.
And you want to try to do something at the council meeting tomorrow to find a way to express the village's
That gives Jeremy
lack-
the authority to email there, to reach out to the lobbyist, yes.
Yeah, so one of the things that happens routinely is, so they, like you said, they adopted at the last meeting the legislative priorities for this session that just started, okay? It's a heavy dose of protect, home rule, okay? So any effort to take away our regulation of fertilizers is, what's the right word, diminution of
That's how I felt,
our
right?
powers of home rule. So asking for Jeremy or the mayor to write a letter to either our legislators or to our lobbyists or both, saying that we, the village, wishes to
Prioritize these as well.
to not, to not alter the current ability to regulate fertilizer. That could be done because it's in keeping with the things that were adopted for their legislative priorities. So all you really want is the authority at this time for either Jeremy or the mayor to write a letter to the appropriate people.
And so that's what Jeremy had explained to me essentially. When, was it, Jay, this was trying to figure out, I was explaining why I felt like this was a priority and we needed to meet. And I believe that that was the sense that I got. So I would need our committee to make a motion for me to present this tomorrow, and the council would have to approve that in order for Jeremy to be able to email.
So I just want to make sure that I understand. So currently, the village of Tequesta has this ordinance with fertilizer. We have it. The preemptive component is trying to work against that right now?
Unfortunately, there have been some things that have been passed at the state level that are preemptively taking away a lot of
Yeah,
So you're
last
asking
year,
for
what they
focus.
did was instructed, it was either the University of Florida or the University of South Florida to do a study. They gave them, I think, $250,000 to do a study to determine if fertilizer, like nitrogen and phosphorus runoff, could be attributed to fertilizers, you know, ostensibly, for the purpose of determining whether there's any value to fertilizer regulations.
I
So
read that.
recently, the University of Florida, within the last week, has stated, now that this session was about to begin, this legislative session, that the subject matter requires more time than what the legislature has granted in order to have, you know, efficacy. So that's kind of where it stands, but there are movements afoot that people are aware of that certain, although I didn't recently see any when I looked at the Senate and the House bills that had been filed as of, say, last week, there was nothing. But we're pretty sure that there's people out there, legislators, that will ultimately file something at the 11th hour, probably,
Always.
trying to sneak it in under the, you know,
Right.
under the
So,
curtain, so to speak.
Our purpose today that you're looking for is suggestion, recommendation to council and mayor to really emphasize our strong opinion on our fertilizer ordinance.
Well, we have a lobbyist that lobbies on our behalf during this legislative session, and
So it's just language that we're expressing to council and mayor.
Council has already indicated to them what they would like, what the village would like the lobbyist to focus on, and so we also have one more thing. We would like them to add this to that list. Keeping an eye out for the fertilizer being taken away from us, so that if you sense that it will be, we can have somebody go represent us and say, we don't want this.
Right, so fertilizer isn't currently on the priorities.
Well-
Okay,
I
that's
pulled it
the
up,
piece
so,
I'm looking for.
so the council in December adopted a resolution for the legislative priorities, and they listed different sections on, one of them is section 5, the village supports grant appropriations to Tequesta Park. The village supports the Florida League of Cities policy on clean energy programs. It adopts the DEP's something, it adopts the League of Cities legislative platform. So it adopts a few of these platforms already, but it doesn't explicitly say
Okay.
that we want to.
So that's the piece you're asking
Right.
for.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
so-
sense.
We would
clear.
expect, though, the League of Cities likely will
Also.
object that, so
But-
it's 19 counties and 111 municipalities that actually have the fertilizer ordinance.
Okay.
So it's, a good portion of the state has it in effect. So it will likely become a big top, if someone tries to slip it in, it will become a League of Cities priority.
So you're saying all of Palm Beach County has that as a,
The county, well, they have it at the county level, but then the individual municipalities have it as well. So when the counties have it, it's for just unincorporated unincorporated areas. So unincorporated Tequesta would have that in effect as well as the village of Tequesta. I know North Palm has it, I think Jupiter has it.
may I ask a question? I think we have an authority on,
Well, if I-
yes, please, I'd be curious.
Tequesta has the additional verbiage of setting dates. Palm Beach County says, don't do it during
Rainy season.
Rain.
it's wet.
Rainfall, yeah.
So yours is stronger. The Sierra Club anyway,
Mhm.
isn't a big fan of Palm Beach counties
Yeah.
because it's like, is it gonna rain tomorrow? I don't know. We're gonna fertilize.
Right.
You have a ban from
Yes.
June until November.
September.
And North Palm Beach does too, I think
So
Jupiter, I
that
think Jupiter
limits
does.
that list you just had.
Right,
Yeah.
it's very narrow when
So
it's
we're on the
with,
strongest level.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Alright,
which is
so-
to be proud, and as a coastal community, that's one of the things we were, as a committee, really
Right.
pushing the council to understand, we wanna lead the way with this, we don't, if
Okay.
it's only one other.
So I think the solution would be, is to amend the approved resolution to add section 9 that says the village shall undertake efforts to ensure that we lobby so that does not happen.
But if
Okay.
that's
Okay.
true, Jay, then they can't actually formalize that amendment till the February
That's the
meeting.
problem. It's the-
But see, my theory is both the League of Cities as well as the village, it may not have stated it, but I was present at the meeting and home rule's a big deal for the village.
Yeah.
And so my thinking is it should be sold to the village council as a specific issue under the heading of protecting home rule so that we continue to have that power, and specifically asking the manager or the mayor to write a letter to our legislators and/or our lobbyists to make sure that they know how the village feels about protecting our current fertilizer regulation abilities.
So we have more than just that one home, in other words, there isn't a priority that states specifically the home rule, to look out for home rule?
Home rule is, yes, just by virtue of them saying, hanging their hat on the Florida League of Cities priorities, home rule is the biggest thing.
Okay.
They're constantly attacking county and city powers so that we become a homogenized, from Pensacola to Key West, a homogenized place with no differences between,
So what are you suggesting that I need to do tomorrow?
you want
Slide it up.
slide it up, make
Right.
sure the council
Yeah, that's what I was-
make sure the council realizes it's under the heading of home rule
Right,
protection.
no, I understand this, okay.
You want the lobbyists and our legislators to be told by appropriate, either Jeremy or the mayor,
Mhm.
to be on the lookout for that, because we would like to protect our powers that exist today in fertilizer regulation.
For example, they could also say they got crazy and wanted to take away the releasing balloons or something. They
Oh,
want to
yeah, yeah,
allow that.
that's a
This is what
perfect
we're trying to
example.
say, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So
exactly.
any of the things that we already have in place, of course, yes, I understand, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
As I read it further, I think we're covered by this. It says, as an active member of the Florida League of Cities, the Village of Tequesta, through the Village Council, will also support additional legislative priorities identified by Florida League of Cities unless the village council determines it is in the best interest to take a contrary position.
But this is a stronger, see, Florida League of Cities, I'm worried we're so few, I don't know that they would have this as a priority. They would even recognize it because so few of us have this in place yet. You know, I'm not sure that that would be something that would jump out.
So communicating what we've just established to council and to the mayor and request for support
Yes.
of correspondence to,
Yes, because.
I'll call Keith Davis after this meeting.
Yeah, and Jeremy, again, I need to just make it so Jeremy just has to send an email. So this is just explaining to council to kind of, and hopefully.
I've seen within the last week him send out 2 or 3 letters to people, elected officials in Tallahassee, as well as the lobbyists, tell them, hey, we're against this and here's why. And so it's a common thing. You just want to have him do it for your fertilizer protection. That's all you gotta ask for.
Okay.
okay.
Yep, okay. So I would like to make a motion, right? Or no?
All right, let me go over the
Yes,
motion
please.
wording.
Okay.
Yes.
Whoever makes the motion, we're making a motion we're asking for a letter from the mayor or Jeremy, or both, to ask lobbyists and legislators to push for home rule protection on this topic.
Specifically, yes, and specifically on the lookout for fertilizer, yes, also.
Okay.
Because I will use that as the example.
Okay.
So that's the motion.
I'll make the motion. You repeat it
You
again.
don't have to repeat it all, I got
Okay.
it.
Yes, okay.
I'll make that motion.
May we have a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Any nays? All right, then the motion carries. Next,
Smoke signals?
no, yes, I know. Well, I'm just looking and I'm like, did I completely skip number 4?
I think we did.
Jeez Louise.
I think we did, I think we were heading
Yeah, we
into
did.
that
I
direction.
I
but
think
somehow
because-
we morphed into this, so it's okay.
I don't think I added that. That's why. That was Jay. I apologize.
The legislative priorities,
No, I just skipped right over you. I apologize, Jay. No, number
Okay, so
4
this-
was to review, yes,
Okay.
review the 23-24 strategic plan and discuss EAC initiatives for the village council to consider including in the 24-25 strategic plan.
So that was a village manager edition. Why don't you guys jump to number 6? He's wrapping up another meeting.
Yeah,
and he
let's
said
do
he
it.
might come in and go over that
Okay.
with you. I
And-
can handle if he doesn't, but.
And I have an idea just, going into this, what he means by that. And so number 6 is discussing an article to be inserted into the next smoke signals. So I received an email from Lori yesterday or the day before, letting me know that we have the opportunity to have an article in Smoke Signals next month.
Oh, okay.
Needs to be to her by January 16th, 10 a.m.
yeah.
Which doesn't give a ton of time, but I
Oh, right.
feel like I've got, I in my head was thinking it's January, this would be kind of coming into the new year. I know it's a month behind February, but this is just our first opportunity, and I would be more than happy as the chair to kind of write, something from the EAC, which would essentially kind of be what some of the things we're focusing on are, which Jeremy, I think, is wanting us to.
Home rule as it pertains to items that affect us, such as the one we just discussed, the fertilizer, is interesting because the smoke signals, council does put out the ordinance in smoke signals, but there's not a lot of information as to why. And I think when people understand why we have those in place, the fertilizer ban, and understand what the actual effects are and the consequences,
Right.
it can bring home a better point. So maybe that's one that.
Yes, and I think that definitely, because I kind of have an intro conversation with anybody that comes up to the EAC table and is like, what's going on here, and I would also like to bring to people's attention that we're out there at those events, and
Oh,
that we
that's
have a
true,
ton of information available to them not only from us, but from local you know, I've got I've got a lot of things that are given. We've got stickers from natural areas and maps and.
What do you feel about introducing the whole concept of the Environmental Advisory Committee?
Well, we have done that, and we have had opportunities in the past to, Bob Shaw has written some tremendous things in the past. I know Tom, we've had some contributions over the years.
It's like people are aware of this, because I personally was not aware of this committee, until I went through the Residence Academy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is a lot people aren't aware of. I know. I mean, I think that that's something people, but that, you know, we
Always
can
looking to
reintroduce
educate.
or like remind them.
Yeah.
But you know, we were just on it last month. Remember, we had our table. We had a lovely article about, or not last month, but there was the article about what we had done. So I think I would just like to talk about some of the things that we focus that are of our concern, you know, in the village and things we are working on. And my question is if I'm able, because of the short time, I wasn't able to get a draft or anything ready together from when Lori had suggested it to me to now, which I really wanted to do, but I couldn't. So am I able to email them? Or we're not able to, they can't come.
To have back
Right.
and forth, that's the problem. I mean, you can email them what you have, but they're not able to say, well, how about we edit it this way or something. That's, yeah, you can't do that.
I know, it's just,
Hand in the back.
It's just one-way communication, so if you work on a draft and get it to where you want it,
uh-huh.
And email it to everybody, they can email Lori and let her know that that's.
I should have brought,
We can email Lori with what?
And let her know if you're good with the draft, or, I mean, there's just no back and forth between you all.
Members. So if we had a suggestion based on that, and we could suggest it, send it to Lori, this article could
Or
use
make
this.
suggestions in
Okay.
right now, so that
Right.
Jessica has them, so that when she writes it.
Okay,
she
send the
knows that
suggestions
she's
to Lori.
representing y'all.
Okay.
Mr. Bradford, I see your hand raised.
Using the legislative priorities that were adopted last month as an example, Michelle is absolutely correct about lack of depth relative to why certain things are done. So, for example, the odds are very high that Lori is going to place the legislative priorities in some form or fashion probably in the February smoke signals. But most people that read it, and they just, you know, protect home rule, let's say, pretend that that's in there specifically. They don't know what that means.
Right.
You know, what's an example of taking away your home rule authority? That's not enumerated anywhere. So they're saying, you know, home rule sounds kind of okay, but what the heck is that? You know, they don't know.
I know.
So we
yeah.
could elaborate what she's saying, and you could
Yep.
you could pick some key issues
Yes.
and elaborate and give them some depth to understand why EAC considers it important, why is it important to the environment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Give them background for whatever you guys think is, you know, super important at this point in time.
Right, and so that would be, I guess, again, thank you very much, and I think that's a great place I was going to, again, if there's what suggestions would you guys have to start with about, like you had just said, the legislative priorities? I do find at food trucks, again, when dealing with people, a lot of times it is that it's that education and the awareness of how we get from point A to point B, or how not putting fertilizer on during rainy season will help you have better fishing.
Well,
and I make that
right.
connection,
It's a
you know, when I'm
cause,
talking to them.
exactly,
So,
Exactly. And
Right.
even like cell towers, it's a unsightly thing. It's not necessarily environment, but it's not. But
Oh,
people
no,
don't
it's
understand
it's
that we don't have
environmental.
control over that.
yeah, well, it definitely, ask the birds, they don't like it. It definitely affects the environment.
Yeah. So just to that note, if I think of some specific ones, I like the fertilizer one because we're talking now about it because summer's coming up, and there's an understanding of what is the effect and the consequences of it.
Another big one that I see people, their confusion with often is the people that have the worst mosquito problems are often the ones that spray the most. And they don't understand how when there's no animals to eat the mosquitoes, you're gonna see more mosquitoes. You know, the birds and the frogs and the lizards and those are all the things that help with, obviously standing water and making sure we don't have that around. But the animals are our friends here too. I know they may look a little scary sometimes.
Like the coyotes and bobcats that are in my backyard?
A big one at this point in time would be, what's the efficacy, what's the benefit of living shorelines that's about to come before the village council?
Yes.
I like
Yep,
that one.
and that ties into the
That's
point that I
probably-
had added here.
That's probably 2 topics, that's all you're gonna
Yeah.
be able to fit in that.
I hear you.
It's not a lot of room.
No, I know.
Yeah, I was gonna definitely ask, what are we looking at here in space
Well,
wordage?
it's that I have, for me, again, I would love for them to come out to one of the food trucks or come see, you know, we have a lot of additional information that we can provide, and we would love to hear any of their concerns too, or anything that they, you know,
Yeah,
questions they
sure,
may
I'm just
have.
curious, what literally,
Oh,
are we
oh.
150 words or less for a section in
How many
smoke
words?
signals?
I don't remember
Are
what she
we
told me,
a
it's not
quarter of
big,
a, you know,
So maybe it's
I
just.
mean,
the
I know
one
just from
topic.
Wrap my
looking at it,
mind
from having
around
been in
a
journalism, so but I don't know the number of words exactly, but it's not a lot.
okay,
So those 2 topics,
get a s-
we're interested in living shoreline fertilizer, whatever you can fit
Yeah.
into that, and we address another one. Maybe
Yes.
we can get a column in the smoke signals for every issue.
And that has come up in the past too, having things around the website, having some, you know, places to put these things. But I almost like if we can pique people's interest and make them say, huh, and, you know, come
yeah,
look
I
for
mean,
more.
those both sound like good,
Because there's not enough space, yes,
suggestions.
unless we're focusing on one thing
Yeah, I mean, I hate
specifically.
the idea that we're not allowed to even look at, give feedback to what we wanna write in it, but, I guess that is what it is.
And I
Well,
think-
we can, but we have to do it through Lori.
Well,
right.
not
400
really,
to 500 words.
okay.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. that's
Yeah, that
pretty
is a decent chunk
Mhm.
of space.
Mm-hmm.
good. So just decide on your topics and what you wanna say and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with those, and I'm more than happy to try and read what somebody put together.
Yes.
And I guess send feedback to Lori, since we can't have a discussion over it.
I think, you know, even like, again, the things that have, I know that there have been individual business owners like Carve, like that have reached out about recycling. I know that I've had people recently at some of these events that are back down from up north who just keep reminding me about the plastic bags that they haven't had up north in years and years and years and years. And they can't believe we still have them down here.
I would just say, I think it should be prepared from the lens of like 101 simplicity.
exactly. Yes,
You know,
I agree.
otherwise you're just gonna lose the
Exactly, well,
reader
and that's.
2 sentences into it.
I agree, and I think that it was more of just kind of an overview of the big topics that are affecting us here, and to reach out or come to one of our meetings or come see us at an event for more information. So that would be for the smoke signal. So I guess that, do I need a motion for that? No. Okay. I guess that was your presentation, Jay. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
6?
No, it's really your discussion.
I just
Not
looked
my
down,
name
I'm
on
like-
it there, but it's for you guys.
Okay, and then, all right, so item 7 now. Did you all, well, I don't know, we've had so many issues here with Outlook, but there was an email, did you guys get an email from Jeremy about mangroves, or about, we had seen, there was a resort that had ripped out all of their mangroves.
Here in Tequesta?
No, it was just north.
Yes, I did
yeah.
get that email.
You did,
Yes.
okay. So they have just finalized, and
I had to replant and got fined.
yes, they have to replant. And so I, here, geez Louise, would like to make the council, I would like to bring that up at, I'm so sorry, I cannot find this here anywhere. It was just sent, that article from him.
It was sent Tuesday.
I see it, yeah, got it. All right, so DEP issues final order to punish Port St. Lucie Resort for destroying Mangrove Village. And they have to do quite a few things. I mean, this is some heavy consequences, and I think that residents and the village, I think people should be aware of how seriously this is being taken. And as the EAC, I would like to make a motion, I guess, I don't know, but I think that the council, I think that we should inform the public that this is the kind of fee or fine that is happening to those that are destroying mangroves. Because I think that we don't always know necessarily about what people are doing on their seawalls or behind their houses. And should somebody see, or should somebody get caught and reported, you know, this is being taken very seriously.
So what all happened?
Let's see here, so the plan requires, well, they, that was too far.
I have to replant.
They have to pay to
everything
plant
in
2,780 red, black, and white mangrove seedlings and trees in between what's left of the estimated 944 trees it cut to nubs by June 24th. The restoration project cost is undetermined. It's not going to be cheap. Which is supplying, Mang is supplying the trees that must range between 2 to 7 feet tall. Those are going to be expensive. Those are big. Those are not little. They have to pay a $110,395 fine to the DEP by February 19th. They have to pay a $72,000 fine to Port St. Lucie County, which will spend it on mangrove restoration at Bear Point Sanctuary. The resort must pay 60 days after the county commission approves the mitigation plan, which is due by April 1st. And the restoration work will be monitored by the DEP for 5 years. This is one of the steepest mangrove cutting penalties in state history, the DEP told TCPOM.
And I always get confused on this mangrove. Who's the entity that gets to, that imposes the fines? Is it state, county? I know DEP would be federal. So does it
Sounded
fall
like it
under
was
all
multiple.
three?
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
remember,
you're breaking every level of law, you know, when you're.
right, but who?
But the DEP is who is
who
issuing
did
this.
that? Okay, so what are you proposing for EAC?
Well, I think that, you know, the manager had sent this out. I don't know whether we need to, I think that we should, I would like to discuss with you what you all think, but personally, I don't think residents are aware necessarily that this is being taken, that mangroves are taken so seriously. Mm-hmm. And I first and foremost would like the council to be aware of it, because we have a major dune issue on Beach Road because of a lack of a dune and lack of mangroves and sea grapes, which
So we're looking for a communication piece, or just bringing the topic up so that we're aware? So
you know,
we can
well,
have
okay,
this-
so the mangroves, I guess the mangroves tie into, I see right when we were walking in here, we did get this email from Jeremy, sent to all of us, that he's letting us know that we received complaints regarding the beach erosion that took place from recent storms, and they reached out to Palm Beach County, and that he's included their response. That, unfortunately, that all only happened after a resident approached me at the Saturday meeting and said she's been emailing council, or they have been emailing council for months and months and months and months, trying to get answers on questions they had going on with Beach Road. And I was forwarded that chain of emails, and it was, you know, for not, I don't know, maybe a year even. I have to look back and see. Which is why I was asking if environmental communications from citizens are brought to the Environmental Advisory Committee's attention, as I feel they should be. Mm-hmm. So I would like for them to be included, because if there are any mangrove issues that come up, for example, I would like us to also be aware of them. I think that helps with transparent, you know, I just think that helps with everything, us knowing issues that residents are concerned with, and us maybe being able to help them with some of these things and whatever it is. But I think that,
So we're looking for communication from the village of Tequesta when they receive environmental issues that we also receive.
yeah, we don't. We
Yeah.
don't at this point in time and
Yeah,
haven't,
that sounds like that's
Yeah, that
something we
sounds
should
more
know.
than reasonable.
right?
I'm still not sure how that piece really
I don't
ties
know how it works.
into.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It does, well, and I guess that it's that in anticipation, this started because people were noticing that this happened. A fisherman noticed
Sure.
and sent a picture in of what had happened.
Of
and
the
what this,
mangroves
of the
being chopped
mangroves,
in
yes.
Port St. Lucie.
So say a fisherman is out fishing and sends a picture in of a neighbor that has just removed mangroves
Gotcha.
to the council. I think that I would like just to make sure that we're looped in, because mangroves are being taken very seriously. We're the environmental advisory
Yeah.
committee, and I would think that that would look poorly on us to not
Sure.
know things, you know?
Yeah, I think we
I
can
felt
ask.
badly not knowing about how many emails had been sent about this beach erosion, because that's certainly been a concern of ours.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been focusing on dunes, and they were unaware. We were talking even about that, and
Yeah,
it's not
I think
just,
if I think what you're trying to say is from the lens of, hey, here's an example of something that happened in Port St. Lucie, which was
Right.
reported by a citizen and brought to, the powers that be. I would like to make sure that the council is relaying to EAC any inquiries or complaints or
Yes.
observations that are received that are under the environmental lens. if you
yes,
will.
and I do apologize for sounding so,
No,
this
no,
this
that's
email that
fine.
Jeremy sent, this one, the one regard that I'm kind of referencing, I'm trying to see, it was sent out at, I caught it here, right as I was walking in, so.
And I'm glad to hear that they're punishing them. I don't know if I'm the only one, but to me it sounds like a pretty light punishment. 180K is what they got fined for ripping out a whole bunch of mangroves? Like, and you're building an entire
It's gonna cost,
resort?
God only knows how much it's gonna cost to replace those, because 2-foot tall mangroves take, I don't know how long to grow, but it's gonna be a little while to grow that big, I would
Okay.
think.
I'm
And
just saying, I would have thought the penalty would have been higher.
I would be fine with higher, absolutely.
I mean,
But again, I
When you're
think
talking
that's.
about a multi-million-dollar situation,
Yeah.
it's not like 180K is nothing, but I don't know, just seems.
They have not historically done a very good job of imposing strong penalties, in my opinion, with animals or environmental issues.
But yeah,
So, yes.
Yes, I'm in
So-
support of the council letting the EAC know of environmental complaints that they receive.
Right, and unfortunately, we have to make that ask or request.
Okay.
But I think that,
Okay.
I would also, did Jeremy send that article also to the council or no?
I have no idea.
You don't.
So how do we make the request for
Because I
council
would-
and the village to keep EAC informed on communications?
I don't know the discussion that happened between Jeremy and Jessica, so I don't know if she's going to have an opportunity to talk tomorrow night on behalf of the EAC. Normally, that only occurs quarterly. I don't know if we're at that point, I don't think we are. But again, I don't know what.
So I'm only able to go in and make quarterly suggestions?
You are, during a council meeting, allowed to address council on
Directly.
behalf of the entire EAC on a quarterly basis. That's.
Well, then, may I speak as a resident,
I
obviously?
mean-
But
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that within our monthly meetings with Jeremy, we can't bring, to the attention of, hey, we should be receiving.
Right, that doesn't need to be some
Yeah, I think that's okay.
sworn-in process, does it?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be a
Yeah,
formal.
but I mean, it sounds like you have multiple things that you're gonna be approaching council with.
Wow.
Here.
Question.
please, please, come on. Come on up.
So the way that we set this process up a year ago is that quarterly the EAC would bring items to council that they would like to see the council consider. I know the last couple quarters there hasn't really been an action from EAC to bring to council. I know you guys are working on the comprehensive plan and a couple other items. I mean, I have reached out to Mr. Bradford during the time, and there wasn't any quarterly items to bring forward. But obviously, the legislative stuff you guys want to bring to council tomorrow because you want action quick.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these items that can be workshopped, I think we can probably line those up for March. The January 29th date, we've already got a tentative agenda for, and then I think it's the February workshop, we can line up the EAC for a workshop to have discussion on whatever you guys choose that you guys want to, bring forth to council.
That makes sense. And
Yeah.
again, I had assumed, so this was my apologies, and my assumption that we were receiving those emails. So this is all new, as you know, that has come up. So that makes good sense that we're able to put that off. That's not, if anybody feels like emailing us, though, also, or CCing us, feel free in the time being. But we will hold off on that and just bring up the legislative priorities tomorrow.
And the council has the same emails that I sent to you guys, so
Right.
Everybody's getting those same emails.
Okay.
All right, that answers that.
Okay, so we'll discuss having the environmental correspondence from citizens
Copied.
at the workshop? Right?
Sounds reasonable, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bradford?
It just occurred to me that, you talked earlier about elaborating on why living shorelines would be important as one of the items you would do in smoke signals. And then you brought up the fiasco that occurred in Port St. Lucie, okay? You could dovetail those two things together in one article to point out, the importance of it all, and then what happens if you treat it like it's not important.
That's a
Or
great
something like that. So you could kill two birds with one stone, kinda, if you figure out a way to wrap it all together.
Right.
Well,
That's a good-
that's cause and effect.
So that's perfect.
Recently this happened, and here's why.
He's like, not at all.
People love a
Hey,
scandal. You can
Jessica?
catch
Yes,
them with
yes,
scandal.
hi.
Hey, it's Brad.
Hey, Brad.
And I'd like to add to that, I was thinking the same thing, but it would also be helpful, I think, to have the real regs, if we can wrap our minds around them, of what, if you do have mangroves behind your house or behind your condo or whatever, what you can and cannot do. How much you can cut back or not. Certainly you can't just take them out by the root. I don't know if we have visibility on the specific laws or regulations that govern mangroves, but that might be something interesting to put into the smoke screens as well, as if you don't follow this is what potentially could happen to you.
So I have a question. Should we focus specifically on mangroves? Is it sounding like a?
Yeah, let's go that way. I think it makes
Yeah,
sense
good
for this time of
content.
year too. Just
And
you
you've
have
got
more
That,
of the-
and we have a great, very recent examples of where it didn't work and they're being punished for it. So it might be timely.
Okay, and it's kind of the example that we're using
Yeah.
for, okay.
Yeah, you just start off with the scandal. Here's the thing
Right,
that
yeah.
happened. Here's our reg. Here's why it's important to protect it.
Right, and because of course, yes, and of course the same thing could be in so many other issues. This is just the example with mangroves essentially, but yes.
I think the trimming rules are in the Florida Administrative Code under FDEP, if that helps.
Yes, thank you.
And we have stuff in our comp plan and code about mangroves, which I
That
can
would be
research. and
very
also-
helpful. Thank you so much. I would appreciate that. Okay, well, we've gotten that figured out, guys. Thank you. All right.
We're back up to number 4.
Well, yes, I guess we are back up to number 4 then. Since you're here, Mr. Jeremy, you added an agenda item here for us that, would you like to present?
What was it?
4, number 4 here, reviewing the 2023 strategic plan, 23-24, and discussing.
So every year the council takes up a strategic plan, at least the last 3 years. And so we will do that in March. If there is initiatives that the EAC wants the council to consider for that strategic plan, it'd be good to make a recommendation to them prior to the March, I think it's March 26th is when that strategic plan is. So we really wanted to introduce it to you guys. You guys can take and chew on it and then come back to the next meeting with an agenda item and I guess, kind of talk about some initiatives. I know you guys have been talking about recycling,
Great, yeah.
Off the top of my head, I know you guys have, everybody kind of has a thing that they're working on, and so maybe there's some initiatives built into that that you want to recommend to council that they may or may not already have in their mind that they want to work on. But at least I just want to throw it on there, let you guys chew on it, and then you guys can talk about it a little bit now. But I think probably be more fruitful the next meeting to have that conversation.
I would suggest we all, you know, if
Make
we.
a little list.
Yeah, or email, you know, we could email, we don't have, but we can't respond. But yes, if everybody wanted to come to the next meeting with 2 or 3 items that they think would be, would be their suggestions, and we can discuss them and put together a list to provide for Jeremy.
So also, like in this format, trying to keep it, you know, with an initiative or something that you're looking at. Typically with a strategic plan, they'll get put on there, and then staff kind of develops the plan on how to get to that item. And so you don't have to get in the weeds. You could say, we want to do more recycling, or, you know, and then that initiative comes up, and the staff will develop the plan on how to do it. So you don't really have, unless you have specifics, which would be great, staff can take those and maybe that'll help us form the plan, but you don't have to do that. You can just come up with the initiative.
So we would just say like like educating about living shoreline benefits, for example.
Yeah, and it might be a bigger topic, might be just hearing your discussion today is about more education on environmental issues. Maybe that's the initiative, and then staff can develop what that means.
So that broad.
Yeah, and keep
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it can be as broad or as narrow as you want, but I think that might even capture what you guys are talking about today, because you guys talked about 3 or 4 different things just in that one topic. So that's just my thought.
Thank you. Okay, that makes good sense. So then we will all work on, you know, coming up with some ideas that we will put together. And also to that same end, if there are any suggestions, I apologize, but it ties in. So anything that we don't use there or that people may come up with, I was thinking it would be helpful to have a list of future article ideas, just kind of in the lineup. So if we want to come up with some ideas as well, we could have those. So we don't have to discuss them all right now, but any other articles.
Each committee member might want to take on a topic and write
Absolutely,
that
and we've had that in the past where, again, Bob Shaw's like our our green thumb, and would
That's
have.
better than
Right,
trying to sort
absolutely.
it out a
Anything
couple
you're
weeks
passionate
ahead,
about, or have previously been
Have them
researching.
ready to go for.
Yes, that always rings truer to the reader, I believe. So, all right, great. Well, then, do we have? I think we've wrapped that up. Yes. Do we have any comments of committee members, village council liaison, or staff?
What about your 2 add-on?
We did this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know.
I forgot what they were already.
Mangroves and.
Oh, okay, right.
Beach erosion and correspondence.
Okay.
Yes. So, any additional comments of committee members? No? All right. Jay, anything to add here? Jeremy, we're good? All right. Future agenda items, I think we just discussed that somewhat.
Right, so I'm gonna put, future smoke signal articles for you guys.
Okay, yes. And also, the initiatives. We're going to be going over the initiatives for because those are separate, but can kind of, for homework purposes, you can do them at the same time, I feel. All right, and then we will also be going over the old business at the next meeting. All right, any other matters?
No.
No? Just another matter on my end, I guess. I don't know if you guys have followed up with any business cards, but I am getting cards. I'm getting cards made for the committee here. I don't know if you guys followed up on any of that or no.
Was there an email?
What do you mean follow-up?
I'll start with solid access to my email before.
Right.
Before
So
the
if you
cards.
haven't gotten that, I think we should. Do you come in? Can you come in and meet with somebody?
Yeah, I did, and then I got logged in, and then when I need to reset a password, then there's nowhere to reset it, so then I gotta go meet with them.
Can you do it on your phone? Have you done it on your phone?
No, I haven't. I've done it on the
Outlook's very
online.
easy. Do it on your phone. Just put the app on your phone too, and see if it works as an app on your phone. I think.
I've met with Brian,
Yeah,
two
Brian.
times, I've got like probably 4 or 5 hours in on this. And
Wow,
I've done through the phone
what?
and the computer, and I don't have access.
Gmail was the best, just having it that way.
Yes,
Did you say you do have access?
I do not.
You still don't
I
have
don't. And we went through it, it's not my computer, so that was good, because that's the first thing we need to go through. And, so there we are. And now I'm back out. I can't even access it the old multiple step way because it needs a new
There he is.
password.
Ta-da!
Poor guy.
Oh, yes, right.
Your ears burning?
Should we wrap up so that we can work
Yeah.
with him?
That would be great. All right,
Okay.
so there are no other matters. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You lost him, he's already gone.
Is
Okay.
there anybody else having issues? I know last week I think we helped.
I've never been able to, but I also didn't put a lot of effort into seeing
fair.
seeing tech
So
guys.
user error.
All right.
Yeah. Well, he's here. I mean, use him if you need him, so that way we can get you guys all taken care of.